Hey everyone, this is Rabio's blog, and welcome to another reaction video series. So today's reaction video is going to be on the recent news about the Sony Disney deal regarding Spider-Man and what that's going to mean for Spider-Man and the MCU. And before I get into my thoughts about this, I would like to remind everyone that new videos will be posted up every Sunday and Monday. And if you happen to see any videos posted up during the week, that must mean that there was a bit of movie or TV show news released during the week that I wanted to cover. But new videos will be posted up every Sunday and Monday. So now let's get into this reaction video of the recent deal that's going on with the Sony Disney deal regarding Spider-Man. And basically what happened here is that according to Screen Rant, they stated that Disney wanted 25% of the profits dealing with Spider-Man. And Sony's like, no, we don't want to do that because we want to keep the original deal where you get 5% of the profits regarding Spider-Man. And this might cause Spider-Man to be taken out of the MCU as a result if Sony and Disney doesn't reach a deal about how to handle this. So, what are my thoughts about this? Well, I want to look at it from both sides of the view. So let's look at Disney's point of view about this issue. So Disney wants 25% of the profits regarding Spider-Man instead of the original 5% that they offered Sony when they first did the deal. And I guess I can understand from Disney's point of view that because they're putting Spider-Man in the MCU movies and the MCU movies are doing very well regarding Spider-Man, they might want a little more profits regarding Spider-Man so they can make more Spider-Man movies, especially since Spider-Man is so integral to the MCU at this point. He's been in Civil War, he's been in Avengers Infinity War, and he's been in Avengers Endgame. So he's Spider-Man has become very integral to the MCU at this point. And also Spider-Man got his own solo movies with the MCU with Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home. So yeah, I could see where Disney wants more profits regarding Spider-Man. On the other hand, let's look at Sony's point of view. So Sony wants to retain the original 5% that they have for the where Disney gets 5% of the character of Spider-Man once they make the movies and stuff like that. And Sony wanted to turn down the deal for Disney getting 25% over the character. I can see where Sony's coming from because Sony does own half the rights to Spider-Man too. And it wouldn't be that fair to Sony that they have to sacrifice a lot of their profits to Disney just because Disney's putting Spider-Man in the MCU a lot. But Sony's doing pretty well with Spider-Man at this point anyway. Before not really, but nowadays they are doing a little better with Spider-Man with Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse doing very well. So of course Sony will want half of that profits too instead of like the Disney getting more of the profits than they did. Um so I can understand where Sony is coming from. So all in all, I really hope that Sony and Disney come to some kind of deal in the end because if Spider-Man does get taken out of the MCU, that could be problematic for the entire MCU. As I mentioned before, Spider-Man has been such an integral part into the MCU at this point. Like he's been in Civil War, he's been in Avengers Infinity War, he's been in Avengers Endgame, and he's become a very integral part of the MCU at this point. And then his movie Spider-Man Far From Home is like the first movie to come out of the fallout of Avengers Endgame. So would that mean that the other MCU movies that's coming out to Spider-Man Far From Home would have to change their tactics because Spider-Man might not be in the MCU at this point? Who knows? I'm not sure what Marvel would do at this point if Spider-Man was taken out of the MCU. There's just so much stories being told with Spider-Man in the MCU. It would be really tragic that Spider-Man would be taken out of the MCU because if you've seen the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, it's obvious that the Marvel has a lot more stories to tell with Spider-Man, and I would love to see those stories be fleshed out more in the MCU. But if Spider-Man gets taken out of the MCU, well, we're not going to be able to see what kind of stories that the MCU was going to tell about Spider-Man, and we would never see Spider-Man's progression as a character or growth as a character in the MCU. And I would love to see that. I would love to see how Spider-Man would fare in the MCU. Um, and when we get to the original Spider-Man mythos from the comics, once we reach to a certain age with Spider-Man, where he becomes the Peter Parker who's like an adult and stuff like that, would his and Mary Jane's relationship develop even further? Will we be able to see any of that if Spider-Man gets taken out of the MCU? And I always felt like Spider-Man is such an integral part in the Marvel universe anyway, so taking him out of the MCU is like losing Marvel's biggest name character in the series. Like Spider-Man's like one of Marvel's most popular characters, and it would be a shame to have one of Marvel's most popular characters be taken out of the MCU like that. But again, and on Sony's side, I do like, well, I haven't seen Spider-Man far into the Spider-Verse yet as of this video, but I would like to, and I've been hearing a lot of good things about it. So if that's the case, Sony might be doing a good job with Spider-Man too. But again, it's about Spider-Man being in the MCU and what this could mean for the MCU in the future if Spider-Man was taken out. And I wouldn't want Spider-Man to be taken out of the MCU. Like, I've been liking the direction Marvel's been taking Spider-Man so far, and I don't want to see him leave the MCU because of this deal. But again, as of this video, Sony and Marvel hasn't come to a deal yet, so we don't know what the fate of Spider-Man is going to be in the MCU yet. But I really hope Spider-Man doesn't get taken out of the MCU, because I've been loving the direction Marvel's been taking the character in the last few years, and I don't want to see all that go away because of this deal. So, what do you guys think about all this? Do you hope that Spider-Man stays in the MCU? What other stories do you want to see the MCU tell about Spider-Man? Or do you think Sony was right to reject the deal because, they own Spider-Man too, and it's not fair to them that they're not going to get a lot of profits out of the character either? But yeah, what are your thoughts about all this? Do you hope that Spider-Man stays in the MCU? Do you hope this deal them Sony and Disney are going to come to a deal that would benefit both of them without resulting in Spider-Man being taken out of the MCU? Please feel free to comment down below. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter so I can keep you updated any new videos I post up. And also, like my Facebook page, Ravity's Blog's Best Comments. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Ravity's Blog, and I'll see you later. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to support this channel, then I invite you to join the exclusive community over at my Patreon account. You will have the opportunity to chat about movies, TV shows, video games, and animation with me and other fellow patrons. Thanks for the support. You guys rock.